So a while back, us Godzilla and Kaiju fans were told that we were going to be getting a sequel to Godzilla 2014 and a prequel to King of the Monsters in the form of the comic Godzilla Aftershock. We'll save talking about that comic in general for another day, but what we're going to focus on today is the new monster that Godzilla is going to be facing in this story, the Muto Prime. So get your popcorn ready and let's get to it. So let's go back to the beginning of the Monsterverse, Godzilla 2014. Godzilla's enemies, the Mutos, were a big part of this movie, but something that was never told about them is how they were there in the first place. All we know is that their eggs were laid in this ancient kaiju, which for a time people weren't sure about who it was. But recently, more and more evidence keeps coming up that this indeed was another member of Godzilla's family. With more information coming out about Godzilla Aftershock, we now know that the Muto Prime was indeed the beast that laid the eggs in that ancient skeleton, making this monster one of Godzilla's earliest and most deadly foes. And now let's go to the Monarch report. Superspecies profile, Monarch designation Muto Prime, classification Titanus Jinsen Mushi, nature bioterrestrial, behavior destroyer, range worldwide. History speaks of it as the earthquake beetle or the dragon beetle, but one name etched into ancient stone tablets echoes through myth and legend, and we have come to know it as Jinshin Mushi, an ancient adversary of Godzilla with a rivalry as old as the Earth itself. The Muto Prime is Godzilla's original enemy. The Muto Prime shares its basic body shape and appearance with the younger ones that we've seen in 2014. However, it is considerably larger and possesses a hardened outer shell, with razor-sharp back spines sticking out of it. If the Mutos were like Charmander, the Muto Prime is like the Charizard. The spikes and battle-hardened shell of the Muto Prime make it an unstoppable mountain of a monster. Its powerful legs will strike the ground like a devastating seismic salvo of cannons, heard for miles with each thunder step, digging into the earth to take a battle-hardened stance on the surface against any Titan aggressor it faces. The strength in the legs of this monster is impressive, especially its forelimbs, due to it walking on its knuckles. The Muto Prime's skin are primarily smooth and black, but its forearms are covered in orange scales. Why this is, we don't know. While we don't know where the Muto Prime came from, we do know how it breeds. The Muto Prime is genetically programmed to seek out another Titan in which to lay its eggs in. After killing its prey in battle, the Muto Prime would use its ovipositors, which are guided by detecting uranium in the Titan's blood, and then they stab into it like a scorpion tail, implanting parasitic eggs into the Titan's stomach lining. The eggs incubate by breaking down the hemoglobin in the host's blood to feed on the nuclear material, eventually rendering the host unable to replenish its atomic energy until it finally dies. From here on out, the soon-to-be Muto babies continue to develop within the host's carcass for centuries, maybe even thousands of years, before finally hatching and breaking through its ribcage, full-on alien style. This results in two offspring, a male and a female, which will mate and reproduce, creating countless offspring, which could threaten to overrun the world. And that's where the Monarch report ends. Alright residents, so what do you think of the Muto Prime? Apparently this was Godzilla's first enemy, or at least his species' greatest enemy. This Muto Prime hunted the other Godzillas, pretty much making Godzilla the last of his kind. As far as I can see, the Muto Prime is the cause to that, you asshole. That being said, we don't know exactly how it's going to go down. But come this late May, and you'll be able to, if you get yourself a copy of Godzilla Aftershock. I think it's probably one of the better ways to go into King of the Monsters, especially if you watched Godzilla 2014 and you want to wrap that story up. This is probably going to do that. I can't wait to see the Muto Prime, and you know once we know more about it, we're going to tell you about it, residents. So as always, this has been Jacob, and I'll see you next time.